What's up, my fellow dorks? The Turtle Dork here with a new review. So this one I have for you is Despicable Me 3. This is the third installment in the Despicable Me franchise, including one standalone film, The Minions. So I love Despicable Me. I thought that first movie was absolutely fantastic. It was extremely charming and delightful. I really enjoyed the second film, so I was Minions, give or take, but I was kind of looking forward, especially after seeing the trailers for Despicable Me 3. It really felt like they were kind of going off and really telling a different type of story. So I was really intrigued just to kind of check this out to see how they kind of would wrap up this trilogy. Who knows? They'll probably make a couple more films. But I gotta say that unlike Pixar and the movies that you see from Pixar, this is not a film that's really kind of steeped in like deep message and really heartfelt characters, and has a kind of very heartwarming and charming and deep story to it. This is really just a lot of fun. It's not nothing that's, like I said, is going to be anything that is going to be existential, really that's going to make you come out and really kind of make you think or feel something like those Pixar films. But I think a lot of people will kind of come out having a really good time watching this movie, because that's the one thing I can really say is that this movie is really, really entertaining. And I think a couple of the reasons why it's entertaining is I like the fact that this movie really has a 1980s feel to it. There's a lot of 80s references, whether it's like with the big shoulder pads or the Rubik's Cube or the music. I think it really does a lot to kind of focus you in on the vibe of the 80s. And as a child from the 80s, I thought it was really, really cool, especially hearing a lot of the music. And I think that's because of the villain. The villain is kind of like this, he was like this child star from the 80s and never really kind of grew out of that. And that's played by Trey Parker. He plays the villain Balthazar Brat. And to me, I think he kind of steals the movie. Actually, he does steal the movie, because as much as I love Gru and his daughters and that whole dynamic, every time Balthazar was on screen, it was just an absolute hoot to watch. It was a joy. It was so much fun. Like I said, because we got a lot of those 80s references through him, and the way Trey Parker really did a great job with this character. So Balthazar Brat, I thought, was a real highlight of this film. The two brothers, Steve Carell plays Gru and Drew, his twin brother, and it's an interesting dynamic. Steve Carell does a great job of really creating two separate characters, and the dynamics between them as brothers you can kind of see and feel. But that's one other thing, not just with them, but I also think that there's a great family dynamic between Gru and his daughters. I'm trying to remember, it's Margot, Edith, and Agnes, which interesting names. They sound like old ladies, but they kind of in the background a little bit more. I want to say they're not, because like in the first film they were kind of the focus of that film. This movie, they kind of move the story along, but they're kind of more in the background. It really does focus more on Gru and his twin brother Drew. But I've always liked the dynamic between Gru and his daughters. I thought that was something that they really kind of focused on, the family dynamic, especially towards the end when we see what happens with his twin brother. But yeah, I thought this was a decent film. Again, nothing that's really going to be a standout that you're going to really kind of remember, weeks and months later. But I thought it was a cute film that I think kids are really, really going to enjoy a lot. The Minions, of course, have some really funny moments and some great moments, and they have like their little side story of their own that I think is really kind of cute and fun, and how they kind of play into the the story. So I think the kids are really going to enjoy that aspect of seeing that as well. But I think overall, the movie was decent. I think I would just give it a solid 70 out of 100. A solid C for this movie. Like I said, nothing that's going to really stand out or make you say, oh wow, I gotta go see Despicable Me. But if you have kids and you're looking for something to kind of do on a weekend, I would definitely suggest, definitely go check this out. They'll definitely have fun watching this film. And like I said, if you're an adult around my age, you'll definitely get a kick out of a lot of the references from the 80s, and I think you'll enjoy Balthazar Brad as well. So those are my initial thoughts of Despicable Me 3. Go ahead and let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments below. Go ahead, rate, like, subscribe, and share, and go ahead and check out my other dorks at MouthDork, at TheDiscoDork, and at Sidewalk Siren. And as for me, I am the Turtle Dork, and with that, I'm out.